Hello and welcome. Today we are going to turn you into a selection wizard in Excel. Seriously, we're talking about mastering the art of selecting your data so you can save a ton of time and just get way more efficient. You know that feeling, right? You're staring at this massive spreadsheet and you spend what feels like forever just dragging that mouse down, hoping you don't overshoot it. Ugh. It's slow, it's frustrating, and it's definitely holding you back. Well, guess what? That ends today.
All right, here's the game plan. We'll start with the absolute fundamentals, cells and ranges. Then we'll level up to selecting entire rows, columns, and tables. After that, we get to the really good stuff, some advanced techniques, the 3 absolute fastest methods, and we'll wrap up with the wizard's secret for making it all stick.
Okay, first things first, we have to build our foundation for speed. You gotta master these basic building blocks because they're the key to unlocking all the really fast stuff later on.
It all starts with this, the humble cell. This is the absolute bedrock of everything you do in Excel. It's that one little box where a row and a column meet, and it's where you put your text, your numbers, or those powerful formulas. So, selecting a single cell is probably the thing you do most in Excel. You can, of course, just click it. You can use your arrow keys to move around, or here's a little pro move. Just type its address, say G12, right into the name box and hit enter. Boom, you're there, instantly.
But let's be real, we're almost never working with just one cell at a time. And that's where ranges come in. A range is simply a group of cells, and you define it by its start and end point. So when you see A2 colon A12, it just means everything from A2 down to A12. Getting good with ranges is totally crucial for doing anything to big chunks of data at once.
All right, our foundation is built. Now let's move on and see how this all applies to the bigger things you work with every single day. Entire rows, columns, and tables. Need to grab an entire row of data? Sure, you can click the row number over on the left-hand side. But the faster way, the wizard's way, is to click any cell in that row and just press Shift plus the spacebar. It's a total game changer. And what about columns? Well, you can probably guess the pattern by now. You can click the column letter at the top, or, for maximum speed, click any cell inside that column and hit Control plus the spacebar. Just like that. 2 super simple shortcuts for 2 very common tasks.
Okay, now we're getting to the really good stuff. These next techniques are the power moves. This is what separates the Excel pros from the amateurs.
Have you ever needed to select, a column of names over here and a column of sales figures way over there at the same time? That's called selecting non-adjacent ranges, and it is incredibly useful for applying the same format or function to different parts of your sheet.
So how do you do it? Well, you could use the F8 key, but honestly, the method you're actually going to use is way simpler. Just select your first range like you normally would. Then hold down the Control key and just go ahead and click and drag to select all the other ones. That's it. It's fast, it's intuitive, and it just works.
All right, quick question. How many ways do you think there are to select an entire table of data? 2? Maybe 3? The answer is 7. There are 7 different ways, which really tells you just how important this single action is in Excel.
Now, we're not going to cover all 7, but let's just focus on the keyboard shortcuts because they are king. Control plus A is the classic, right? Press it once for your table, press it a second time for the entire sheet. But you can also use Control plus asterisk or Control plus Shift plus space. That all get the job done in an instant.
Sure, you could still use your mouse to drag and select. You could even do a fancy Shift plus click on the table borders, and yeah, those work. But when you're dealing with thousands and thousands of rows, nothing, and I mean nothing, beats the precision and the raw speed of a keyboard shortcut. And that brings us to the grand finale. Seriously, if you forget everything else, remember these next 3 methods. This is the absolute speed run for selecting data in Excel. This is what you came for. Method number 1 is the Shift plus click. This is just beautifully simple. Click your starting cell, then scroll all the way down to the end of your data. I don't care if it's thousands of rows away. Hold down the Shift key, and then click the very last cell. Everything in between gets selected. Instantly. No dragging needed. Okay, method number 2, Control plus Shift plus arrow keys. This one might be my personal favorite. You click a cell at the top of a column, press Control plus Shift plus down arrow, and it instantly selects everything in that column right down to the last piece of data. Use it with the right arrow and it'll grab the whole row. It's just perfect for selecting entire columns or rows right inside your table. And finally, the ultimate power move, Control plus Shift plus End. This one is an absolute monster. Click on your starting cell, hit this combo, and Excel instantly selects everything from that point all the way down to the very last used cell in the entire worksheet. It really doesn't get more comprehensive than that.
So, you've learned the moves, but how do you become a true wizard? Well, the secret isn't just knowing the spells. It's knowing how to remember them when you need them the most.
You see, the real secret isn't about perfect memorization. It's about building a new habit. And you don't have to do it alone. If you're in the zone and you forget a shortcut, don't just go back to the mouse. Just ask an AI a simple question like this. Getting that quick reminder is what builds the muscle memory and helps make these skills actually stick.
So the crucial point of all this is pretty simple. When you're working with data, especially lots of it, ditching the mouse for keyboard shortcuts isn't just a small improvement. It is a fundamental shift in your speed, your accuracy, and your efficiency. It's the single biggest leap you can possibly make.
So the only question left is the one right there on your screen. After seeing how much time you can save, are you ready to drop the mouse, switch to the keyboard, and truly become an Excel selection wizard?